To truly become a rivalry, a long-standing competition must embrace history, star power, and a plethora of memorable moments.
Long enough, the official says yes. Oh boy, is that going to be controversial.
Manning out of the shotgun. Four-man rush. He has time. He threw an interception.
It's going to go just right. The streak is at 11. Snap is back. Pressure. Fires it. Incomplete.
Looking. He's going to heave one deep down the field. It's going to be to the goal line. It's going to be gone. It's a touchdown. Oh, man. I can't believe what I just saw.
Tonight, Tennessee and Florida feature first-year head coaches, each hoping a win is the first on the path back to prominence. And here come those Tennessee Volunteers getting ready for their rival Florida Gators. Meeting number 48 all-time between the Vols and the Gators. And for just the second time in the long-standing history of this rivalry, it's a pair of new head coaches. Dan Mullen, his first time coaching at Neyland Stadium in a decade. He was the OC of Florida in 2008, the last time he was here. They never made a trip in his 9-year tenure as the head coach of Mississippi State. There's Jeremy Pruitt, the Nick Saban disciple, beat Dan Mullen's Mississippi State teams as the defensive coordinator of Alabama each of the last 2 seasons. Kadarius Toney takes a knee, and Florida has the football to start the night with their redshirt sophomore quarterback Felipe Franks. The last time he took the field against the Vols in Gainesville, one of the great moments of his short career thus far, the Hail Mary from 63 yards to Tyree Cleveland for a memorable, magical win for the Gators. You grow up waiting for moments like that to happen. Rod Gilmore had said it still gives him chills.
Yeah, you can tell he's got a big arm and he's excited for this ball game, and this is a rivalry game unlike many.
On first down, it's Jordan Scarlett, who did not play against Tennessee a year ago, and his first run is good for a dozen yards. Adam Amin, Rod Gilmore, Quint Kesnick. It's hard not to experience this place, 105,000 strong at Neyland Stadium tonight.
Yeah, Felipe Franks has had a good season so far, not a great season.
First pass for Franks, and he connects with Morrill Stevens. Looks like he has enough for the first down.
And one of the challenges for Felipe Franks is dealing with the crowd noise.
Yeah.
This is the first road game for this new team for Dan Mullen, and this is a big test for Felipe Franks. How do you handle the crowd? Can your teammates, will you be heard? Do you have to go on silent counts?
Under pressure. Wrapped up and brought down by Alexis Johnson, the senior.
You know, Adam, Florida has had trouble protecting the quarterback. Last year, this year, 38 sacks last year, 37 sacks last year, and they've had issues this season. So the big challenge tonight, can they keep Franks upright? He's got a big arm, but you can't use it if you're on your back.
On 2nd and long, it's Scarlett. And he got hog-tied by Shy Tuttle, the excellent senior defensive tackle for Tennessee.
Adam, we'll see just how confident Florida is offensively on this 3rd and long. They'll get some man-to-man coverage from time to time. They'll also get some pressure. This is much more likely to be a conservative play from them.
Scarlett. Well, he's got some space, but had a long way to try to cover. Kyle Phillips closed out the play to bring up 4th down.
You know, as we look towards this game and looked at these two teams, we sort of expected that they would generally be kind of conservative on offense. They haven't been world beaters offensively so far this season. They'll play into their defense a little bit more. Not surprised by the 3rd down run there. Play field position here if you're Florida.
And Tommy Townsend, the former Tennessee Vol who redshirted for UT a couple of seasons ago, punts it away. And has a beauty inside the 10 to flip the field. 38-yard kick. R.J. Raymond downs it. And here is the redshirt sophomore, Jarrett Guarantano. 6'4", a big-bodied quarterback trying to earn his respect. His tight end, Domwood Anderson, said tough. That's my one-word answer to describe Guarantano.
Well, he's right. You know, he's a New Jersey kid. Hard-nosed. He's taken a lot of hits. He doesn't mind that. Doesn't mind running the football.
The son of an NYPD officer, James. Ty Chandler gets the first carry into the body of David Reese. Good to know for Florida. Their inside linebacker Reese is in for the first time this year after missing time with a high ankle
Well,
sprain.
they need that. You know, Florida has had trouble stopping the run. Remember, Kentucky just ran up and down the field more than 300 yards rushing against them.
175 of those to one Benny Snell. Another run for Ty Chandler for a couple.
And if it's one thing that Florida has been thinking about, it's shoring up its run defense.
Right.
And if that means you get an extra guy, an 8th guy into the box, you do that. And you force Tennessee to throw the football. You just can't week after week allow teams to run for 300 yards on you.
Is this the week that Tennessee's offense really gets the pass game going? They have to do it against Todd Grantham's defense.
Yeah, and Todd Grantham means pressure, right?
Yes,
yeah.
Aggressiveness, especially on 3rd down. They'll bring late heat, but Guarantano connects with Josh Palmer. First down out across the 25. Lost his helmet, did Guarantano, so he would have to come off the field for a play, and Keller Crisp may have to come in.
Yeah, just a quick slant. You'll see that coming from that side, and a good job by Guarantano picking it up. He knows he's got pressure, knows he's got single coverage. Just a quick slant picks up the first down.
So Guarantano, because he lost that helmet, and it was not due to a penalty flag, Keller Crisp, the grad transfer from Stanford, who is competing with Guarantano for the job, checks into the game. And he'll hand it off for Tim Jordan. Nothing there. Good play by David Reese, making an early impact. And now Jarrett Guarantano will check back into the game for Tennessee.
Well, we talked about him being a tough quarterback, a tough guy. You know, he can be emotional. He was somewhat emotional at times last season when he did not win the starting job, but he matured over the summer and he beat out Keller Crisp, who came over from Stanford, and he's been a good solid quarterback, and he's been in charge of everything, emotions included.
Back to Jordan, and to to the body of Adam Schuler, a grad transfer from West Virginia. Third down coming up.
So the challenge for Guarantano, these third down situations, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 7 plus. Will he be patient in the pocket? He's had a tendency to sneak out.
A blitz from Florida again. And Guarantano gets drilled, and it's intercepted by David Reese. His season debut has been impactful already.
Well, I'd be worried. You got 2 big hits already on your quarterback. 99 Polite comes from the blind side and just destroys him. Watch the hit. The back misses him. He gets a big hit on him. Reese is right there. Again, we talked about Grantham, the defensive coordinator, believing in pressure, in being aggressive. You had to know it was coming on 3rd down. They did not pick it up.
And Florida takes over at the fringe of the red zone. Franks hit hard for a loss. Micah Abernathy.
Adam, the weakness of the Tennessee defense is the back end.
Right.
That's where they've got some youngsters. They've been banged up. And for Florida, it's a matter of trusting your quarterback and your receiver and taking some chances on 1st and 2nd down.
Franks with time, delivers, low for Swain. It is caught, and it will be just shy of the goal line based on the initial ruling.
And that's a great matchup. They got Swain matched up against a safety in the slot, and he just runs a little post pattern inside, gets around him, and appears to get his hands underneath the ball.
Freddie Swain, who had a punt return, touchdown, and a reception for a touchdown last week, sets up 1st and goal for Florida on the road.
And they have lots of options down here.
Yep.
Scarlett is a hard runner. So is Franks.
Franks with the fullback B.J. Raymond leaking out. The redshirt senior with his first career catch, and it's a touchdown. How about that from R.J. Raymond, the son of a Gator, Bobby, who was a kicker back in the 80s. The first time his hands touch the ball, it's a touchdown on the road at Neyland Stadium.
You know, they've tried to get the ball to him a couple times this season without any luck. But sure enough, he shows up in the end zone and catches one.
Evan McPherson adds the extra point. Look how pumped his teammates are for him. What a moment for R.J. Raymond after it was all set up by the defense of Florida.
Well, watch the sack by Polite. And then Reese, that is actually a fumble recovery, not a pick. And then you come right back with R.J. Raymond. He's got 6 to dance with.
Hard to beat this scene. A Saturday night at Neyland Stadium in Knoxville, a rivalry contest. And the Gators on the board first. R.J. Raymond's first career catch is a touchdown. The ball's to the 25. And 1st down. Not a lot of room for Guarantano to maneuver with a flag thrown.
After the play, personal foul, late hit, offense number 73, half the distance to the goal,
Yeah,
2nd down.
That's Trey Smith. And you know, you need that toughness, but you need it protecting your quarterback, not after the play. And he's their best offensive lineman. And right now, that offensive line has been having issues. There have been 2 tremendous shots on Guarantano already, and they need to protect him much better than they have so far.
Last year, Tennessee had 11 different starting offensive linemen. They brought back 8 on this roster with starting experience, trying to shore up that portion of the game. Guarantano, nothing there. T.J. Slayton finished it off. But Jawan Taylor got into the backfield.
Quarterback run game is something that Florida was expecting and looking forward to dealing with it. You see Slayton, who actually lost his starting job to Schuler, but he's in there on that second down.
Sophomore out of Fort Lauderdale. Third down and nearly a quarter of the field. That one is taken out of the air by Luke Ankrum. Another Tennessee turnover.
Guarantano never saw him. He was just sitting to his right, hovering. He did not rush the quarterback. He was hovering at the line of scrimmage, and Guarantano thought he could float it. Keep your eye right there and watch what happens here. He's just hovering, a little bit of the zone blitz there, sitting there, waiting to see what happens, looking for a crossing route. And Guarantano never expected him to be there.
The first impactful play of Luke Ankrum's career. And it's 1st and goal again for the Gators. And now Franks is going to line up wide. LaMichael Pirine in the Wildcat. Still pushing that pile all the way down near the 1-yard line. An absolutely dreadful start for Jeremy Pruitt's team. Twice has given it away to set up Florida in excellent field position. Franks muscles in. There's the first career rushing touchdown for Felipe Franks. And it's a 2-score Gator lead on the road.
Adam points off of turnovers. You go back to the touchdown. We talk about tough quarterbacks. We talked about Guarantano. Franks being a tough guy as well. Lowering the shoulder, 6'4", 209 pounds. That quarterback run game, he's not afraid to use it.
McPherson adds the extra point. Luke Ankrum sets it all up in the matter of 118 seconds. Florida's up 2 scores.
I got to make sure that I'm reaching out and hitting every blade. You guys are risky letting me do this, you know that?
Q, I'm going to have to ask you about your experience in just a moment. Denver. Back at Neyland, 2 turnovers by Jarrett Guarantano, a fumble and a pick. Not getting a whole lot of help from the offensive line early. Tim Jordan, good run on 1st down. Q, tell me a little bit more about the checkerboard end zone experience.
Well, since 1964, I mean, it is iconic. When you're watching a game on TV, you see the checkerboard orange end zone, you know we're at Tennessee. It takes them 2 hours each end zone on Thursdays to put the white blocks down. They're 5x5 squares. They come back on Friday and then repeat it with the orange. It's interesting, they mow them each week. The grass grows out and they mow it, so it ends up green, and they repeat the procedure. It is an intensive procedure. A lot of time. I did not ruin a pair of shoes.
That was going to be my next question. You rocked some pretty good kicks. I wanted to make sure that they were okay. No Kesnick shoes were harmed in the filming of that segment. The Florida defense stacking it up again. Zuniga and Polite, the edge guys for Florida, getting it done.
This is getting dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, now you've got a 3rd down where you need something for confidence. You've done nothing offensively. You haven't protected your quarterback. That man, Grantham, is having his way with that offensive line. Whether it's pressure or just his matchup on the edges, they've wreaked so much havoc and knocked around the quarterback.
They've turned it over twice on 3rd down already. Another Florida blitz. Guarantano's got a man. Jawan Jennings into Gator territory.
Guarantano showing some poise and confidence in the pocket. Stepped right up and found Jennings over the middle.
Can these teams generate big plays? I looked at Jawan Jennings. You and Q talked about it during our production meeting today. They're going to try to keep Marquez Callaway in check. So somebody else might be able to step into a big play role. And Jawan Jennings has been that guy. Remember the touchdown against Georgia a couple of years ago?
Yeah, well, Jennings and Callaway are both big receivers, big-bodied guys who can probably break a tackle or two. But you got to have time for your quarterback to get the ball to them.
So it's all going to come back down to that, right? O-line play?
No doubt.
They were looking for Callaway that time. He had C.J. Henderson. That's going to be a matchup to watch all night.
Look, and C.J. Henderson is a really good corner. 6'1", 190 pounds. And they're just, you know, hand fighting, hanging out together. That's fine. Callaway is a very physical receiver. I mean, he likes mixing it up. And Henderson does not shy away from that. It's a good no call.
They're going to count the numbers here, try to find the matchup they like. Instead, Guarantano's just going to run it for the 1st down.
The cross motion showed him that there was man-to-man coverage, and he just took off. He's athletic enough to do that, and guess what? Picks up the 1st down as we head to the 2nd quarter, and that 1st quarter was full of big hits and turnovers.
And Florida took advantage. Raymond and Franks had the Gators on top through 1. A 14-0 Gators lead. Adam Amin, Rod Gilmore, Quint Kesnick. This is a rivalry. Make no mistake about that. Yes. This used to be winner pretty much wins the SEC East.
Right.
While it may not be the case now, this is a night that could launch these two teams with a lot of luminaries in the house tonight.
Well, I think that's right. And for me, this rivalry was really kind of made by Steve Spurrier.
Sure.
I mean, imagine he was the villain. He was the guy who would beat Tennessee and then poke fun at them. And that really took this rivalry to another level.
Toss play for Ty Chandler. Good move after the first contact here.
Adam, and keep in mind what's at stake tonight. First-year head coaches. A win tonight is confirmation. It's affirmation. It leads to more buy-in from their players. From the players, it's confidence gained. For these fans, they can finally pump their chest. And, well, for the loser, you turn around, you're looking at the SEC gauntlet, and you're probably going to be a bottom dweller.
There is a lot of weight on this game tonight in a lot of different facets. Chandler again, close to the sticks. It'll be 3rd down and short.
Well, Quint's absolutely right. This is a huge game, and Pruitt said as much, that they have to win this game.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take a genius to look at the, schedule and realize that, look, the next 3 or 4 weeks, really difficult. Get the wins where you can, and maybe in November you got a chance to get the 6 wins and get to a bowl game.
Trying to run it with Chandler, and he got wrapped up by Schuler. He and David Reese raced into the backfield for the stop.
That was all David Reese going through the gap between the center and the guard. He'll come flying in right there. You'll see him in a second as he shows up. There he is. Nobody touches him. They tried to bring the tight end over, a little slow. That's a guy who's happy back on the field.
Yeah.
Know?
He has been all over the place tonight. Brent Samaglia from 32. That will get the Vols on the board. This place opened 97 years ago on Monday. Neyland Stadium along the Tennessee River in Knoxville. Onside kick. Loose ball. Looked almost like a simultaneous grab, and what are the officials going to rule? They'll say Florida ball. It looked like LaMichael Pirine got it. And a little bit of jawing between Jeremiah Moon and Will Ignat.
You got one white shirt among 3 orange shirts, and somehow Pirine wins. Alert, ready for it. Look at that. You got 3 guys trying to rip it away from him. He's got no help from his buddies. That is a tough play. That is an aggressive play by the youngster. Man.
The junior out of Mobile, Alabama, saves a possession. Jeremy Pruitt getting aggressive, and so is this crowd. Franks incomplete through the hands of Tyree Cleveland.
Now, was that a gutsy call by Pruitt or a desperation call?
Do you think he's feeling a little bit of tension right now?
I think everybody on that Tennessee side is feeling the heat. You know, they didn't get off to a good start. They were trying to steal a possession and get back in and not let this thing get too far away. They thought they had a little momentum with the three points there.
On the ground with Scarlett. Q, it just seems so loud down there. There's got to be a little bit of difficulty in communication, I would think.
It is, but Florida's handling it real well. And obviously this week they practice with noise, including Rocky Top, a tune that Coach Mullen said was quote-unquote catchy. But these scenarios here, you see the quarterback Franks talking to all his linemen. They're using a clap cadence. If something changes, then making adjustments and audibles from this stage on are impossible.
They'll run it with Scarlett, and he gets shut down by Shy Tuttle.
That Florida offensive line has also had its problems this season, and Tennessee, and Shy Tuttle in particular, just dominated them at the point of attack there.
This game really does feel like it's going to come down to the trenches. Whoever wants to win up front feels like they're going to have a huge edge in this game.
Yeah, and I think actually both defensive lines have an advantage over both of the offensive lines.
Okay.
So both offensive lines have struggled so far this season.
Tommy Townsend trying to pin it, and does. Tyree Cleveland catches it inside the 5. Meeting number 48 all time. Emotions running high in Knoxville. Tennessee gets the stop. Tim Jordan just seeking a little bit of cushion. Second down.
Yeah, just trying to push it out a little bit. Nothing fancy, just a little lead play with the fullback. We might get more of that here. Again, Q, they're just trying to wedge this thing out a little bit.
They go tight splits here. They've also added a new left guard, Riley Locklear, 56, after some of those pressure issues early.
Back to the ground. Jordan is in the end zone. And that is a safety for Florida's defense. C.C. Jefferson.
Florida jumped all over this, expecting that lead play on the right side. They actually got it at the point of attack and brought a linebacker in also from that side. Jefferson was fantastic right there. No push at all. Look at the way they destroy the offensive line. You see all the white shirts getting into the end zone. No push on the left side. And you think about that cue. They've got guys over there. Fred Smith, and it didn't happen.
I'm behind that end zone within, I don't know, 12 yards of the ball when that play's happening. And as soon as he bounced that to the outside, you could tell it wasn't there. At some point, he should have taken his medicine and said, I'm going straight. I can't afford to bounce it.
Maybe the guys he recruited that are freshmen, they're good with that. Guys that have not been around him, it's a little different.
Kadarius Toney. The head of steam out to the 35-yard line. Nothing downfield for Franks. Now something opens up. And it's Freddie Swain. Freddie Swain in a foot race to the end zone. Touchdown, Florida.
And Adam, it all started with all the time Felipe Franks has. Only 4 men rushing. They get handled completely. And then you lose Swain down the field as they were playing a zone coverage. And poor angles by every Tennessee defensive back. And Jeremy Pruitt is talking about that. That shouldn't happen. Coming from the backside, pursuit angle, that tackle has to be made.
The longest catch and run of Freddie Swain's career at 65 yards, only putting more frustration into Jeremy Pruitt and these fans. Some of the great coaches and players that have looked upon this rivalry and have come to define this rivalry.
Well, remember how Florida, has dominated this rivalry, and Steve Spurrier used to say things like, you can't spell citrus bowl without UT.
You said it, though, man. Like, it's one thing to win, which Spurrier did. It's another thing to kind of rub it in the face of the opponent. Sean Schamberger out across the 20-yard line. There's Ty Chandler stretching to the edge. First really strong run of the day for Tennessee.
The safety, Brad Stewart, comes inside. If you go inside to try to make a tackle, you can't miss it. Watch him come inside. You go in there, you got to make that tackle. He missed it, and that allowed Jordan to get to the edge. Chandler is good.
Coming off a career high in yardage last week against UTEP. Now it's Madre London. And Jeremy Pruitt would like nothing more than to see this running attack get going.
Yeah, well, they need that. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, all 23 points for Florida off turnovers. I know there was a safety and then the touchdown, but I consider the safety pretty much a turnover.
Sure.
And so 23 points, kind of the cheap way.
Sticking with London. Good job by T.J. Slayton to wrap him up. Looks to be very close. It's going to be third down and very short.
At some point, Tennessee will need to take some chances, some shots on second down. Florida is getting that safety into the box to stop the run game.
Third down and 1 near middle of the field. Maybe is this play action spot right here, you think?
Well, if you look out to the right side, you think you got single coverage out here. Not a bad idea, but they got a safety over the top over there. Not the time to do it.
Yeah, they'll stick with it on the ground. A diving attempt by London. Brad Stewart came in to chop him. And it's back to the 45-yard line. 4th down and 1. Jeremy Pruitt has already gone for it on 4th down in this game. That was a 4th and 4. A crucial 4th and 1 for Tennessee.
Yeah, I wouldn't do this here. I mean, there's this sense of desperation coming over Tennessee right now.
Guarantano. He's got a wide open man. Austin Pruitt! Did he lose the football? It's going to be ruled as a touchback. C.J. Henderson ran down Austin Pope. He lost the football out of the end zone. If he lost it in the field of play and then it went out of the back of the end zone, it's a touchback and the ball belongs to Florida. He looked to be airborne when that ball came loose.
Yeah, and that ball goes out of the end zone.
Short of the goal line, through the end zone, resulting in a touchback.
Oh my goodness. He was feet away from a huge touchdown for Tennessee. Oof, this is no good for Tennessee right now.
Is that not the worst drive chart you've ever seen?
There's not many worse than that right now. A brutal start to SEC play for Tennessee. And Kadarius Toney breaking free for Florida. All the way inside the Tennessee 45-yard line. A 33-yard end around.
Well, that worked because 82 Stevens gives a great block on the edge. Watch him come pick out the contained guy right there, and that opens it up. And Toney is able to just take off after that great block.
Franks into traffic. Dangerous throw for Cleveland. The man he found for the game winner against Tennessee last year.
Yeah, that window was closed. He tried to squeeze that in there, but that was not the place. Cleveland was well covered. But now you can come right back and see if you've got a wide field here. You're on the hash mark. What formation can you use to get yourself into a single coverage matchup? Probably on the short side. Nope.
Franks running out of time. Trying to go airborne and got wrapped up by Jarrett Guarantano.
You know, we show too many highlights with guys trying to jump over people. And then everybody thinks they can do it. And you're not jumping over Kirkland.
Darren Kirkland's an excellent linebacker. He said, no, sir.
Yeah, not the best idea.
Third down and 4. Final half minute. Franks to the end zone and incomplete. Fourth down coming up. I do have to ask, were you a little surprised that Jeremy Pruitt didn't use a timeout there to preserve some time, or do you think he was just thinking, let's get out of this half unscathed?
The latter. I think he's ready to try and keep them out of the end zone and get to halftime and try to regroup. And I think they really need that. I felt that first half with some of the decisions kind of reeked of desperation, like the game was getting out of hand and they needed to do something desperate to get back in it.
Evan McPherson, the true freshman from Fort Payne, Alabama. And the Gators take a 23-point lead. Some boos here at Neyland Stadium. The first SEC half for Jeremy Pruitt, hoping that he can find some of this rivalry magic. A couple of years ago, right here in Knoxville, a massive Tennessee Volunteer comeback. They're hoping for more of the same. Right now, we're hoping to get you to Adnan Virk, Joey Galloway, and Jim Mora. Boys, it's yours for the halftime. And you're watching the SEC on ESPN. An impressive performance by Florida in that first half. Adam Amin, Rod Gilmore, Quinn Kesnick, but they got a lot of help from a lot of Tennessee mistakes.
It could not have gone worse for Tennessee. The turnovers, kind of losing your confidence, getting a safety, all those things really put them in a bad position. And you had this sense of kind of desperation by Tennessee to try to get back into it, and they could not. Now they get the ball to start the second half.
Schamberger recovers and gets hit shy of the 20-yard line. And that ball come loose at the end of the play. And a little shoving as well. And James Carter and this crew have to get into the thick of it right away to make sure nothing escalates. Are they ruling Florida ball? They're ruling Florida ball, and another miscue to start for Tennessee. This out of the gates in the second half.
And you know, you go in at halftime and you think, wow, that first half was awful. Let's put this behind us. And then you come out, and this is the first thing that happens on the kickoff. That's a fumble. Knee not down. Ball is out, and he did not recover it. That was Stewart who got in there and knocked the ball loose. And now Florida is set up inside the 20. You kidding me?
Absolute disaster for Tennessee. And here comes Florida. And a hole for Jordan Scarlett. And a touchdown for the Gators. Right out of the chute in the second half.
I'm not sure I've seen a weaker attempt at making tackles. Certainly not this season. I mean, this tells you this team emotionally is not involved. Watch what happens here. Look at the guys who have a shot. Head down, runs through me, pursuit not there, hanging up. No real effort to get him on the ground.
(33-3), and already, Q, we see some fans hitting the exits here in Neyland.
They booed the Volunteers off the field to end the second quarter, and many of them, after that touchdown, are heading to the exits. Who are you going to beat with 4 turnovers? That's what Jeremy Pruitt said. You got to hold the ball. It's 5 now. 5 turnovers by Tennessee. All he wanted to see in the second half was a consistency of execution. Nightmare start when you fumble the opening kickoff. Things went from bad to worse, and many fans are disgruntled and making their way up the aisles.
24 points off of turnovers officially for Florida. This will be a free 5 yards. They'll take the big gainer instead to Jawan Jennings. That flag should be for offsides. Have you been in a situation like this? I mean, out of the chute in the second half, already down 25, 30 points?
Well, yeah, I mean, of course, yeah. But the real challenge is you're dealing with a lot of young players who are getting an opportunity that have been recruited by Pruitt and the like, and you have older players who've been beaten down for years. And for them, this is the way it's been before. So maybe they don't buy into the new stuff. It's tougher for older players.
Outside, defense number 91. That penalty is declined. The result of the play is the first down.
To buy into a new approach when it doesn't work.
Right.
You know, and I was in that situation. You have an old coaching staff and you did things one way, and you bring in another coaching staff and they do it differently. You keep losing. You go, well, it's no different.
Hey, you had to deal with Bill Walsh leaving for the NFL when you were at Stanford.
I never forgave him for that.
Guarantano looking deep. There is a penalty marker thrown. Josh Palmer was being guarded by the freshman Trey Dean.
Dean says that they were both pushing and fighting, but you know what? That right hand, down low. You can't put it up around the shoulder pad.
Right.
You keep that hand down low, it doesn't get called. And
that might be what Dan Mullen was saying right there.
Pass interference. Defense number 21. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
He's a freshman. He'll learn. You keep that hand down low and you grab on and you can slow him down and you're not going to get flagged. You put it up high around the shoulders, around the numbers, you're going to see that every single time.
That one through the hands of Jennings. Incomplete forward pass. 100,000 here at Neyland Stadium, but it doesn't sound like it. It's gotten very quiet.
Remember how loud it was at the beginning of this game?
Q told us 107 decibels.
Yeah, on that near Tennessee touchdown, it went from 108 decibels down to 84 decibels in about 6 seconds.
Man.
When he fumbled the ball out of the back of the end zone.
Guarantano looking for Callaway. Oh my goodness! Nearly held on. That would have been the play of the night.
Wow. Now they've been looking his way, but look how aggressive he's being handled by Henderson. He's out of bounds now. He can come back and reestablish and almost makes a circus catch. Got to complete the process as Taylor came over to finish him off.
I don't know if I'm yelling at a brick wall when I'm asking you whether or not that was pass interference on a defensive back, but
no,
I could have seen I could have seen a flag on that when you're grabbing the jersey.
Ball wasn't in the air. It pushed him out of bounds.
All right. Dropped by Brandon Johnson.
Florida was playing coverage. They dropped 8. There was nowhere to go with the ball but underneath. You got to get points. You've got to string together something. I don't blame you. Grab your head. I mean, if you're a Tennessee fan, you can't believe how badly this night has gone.
Brent Samaglia responsible for the lone Tennessee points tonight. A field goal after a turnover on the opening series for Tennessee. Get points this time around. Jarrett Guarantano on the bench right now. We saw moments ago Keller Christ loosening up on the sideline, and you wonder if Guarantano's night is done.
Well, he's taken quite the beating tonight.
It's been really rough. We'll see. Tennessee's going out on defense in a moment. He's been on his back a whole lot tonight. Kadarius Toney for Florida. Shy of the 15. A slew of turnovers in this game. If you're just joining us, extended the lead, did Florida, right out of the gates here in the second half. First play from the opening whistle. A fumbled kickoff by Tennessee. Florida on the very next play had the touchdown. A field goal ever since. 33-6. Florida on top here.
Guys, it was interesting to watch Dan Mullen work with Felipe Franks in between those series. Coming over, you know, reading coverages has been an issue with Franks. You could see Mullen talking about his eyes, what he's looking at, the rotation of the secondary, all the nuances that this quarterback has to learn.
Said, I want him to beat Tom Brady, but he's also about 45,000 passes behind Tom Brady right now, so you have to have some patience. Penalty marker thrown from the near side of the field.
Well, that's not so fair.
That's quite the lofty expectation, he said.
I mean, come on. I mean, in some books, he's the greatest quarterback to have ever played the game. That's a little pressure. But, you know, he hasn't played an awful lot. I mean, you're still talking about a young quarterback.
Illegal formation, offense, more than 4 players in the backfield. That penalty is declined. Third down.
He's got a very big arm, but, you know, needs to work on touch. They use him in the rushing attack a lot. He's a big, strong runner, but, you know, just all the other things about playing quarterback will come in time as he stays with him.
That's what Dan Mullen said. The figurative switch will flip eventually, because he's seen it happen with other guys. Alex Smith and Dak Prescott were guys that needed some time to let the switch flip, and when it did, obviously they had very impressive careers that are still going today in the NFL. There's Cleveland.
Remember, we thought Dak Prescott was nothing more than a running quarterback.
Sure.
By the time he became a junior, senior, he became a guy who understood the passing game concepts and would check the ball down. And you see some of the guys who played for Mullen. That's not a bad list at all.
Pretty good. He's an assistant to Urban Meyer at Utah, quarterback coach there, offensive coordinator at Florida with Tim Tebow. Marquez Callaway, fantastic story for this Tennessee team. Junior out of Warner Robins, Georgia, comes from a very disciplined military family. Jump ball up top for Palmer, incomplete.
He underthrew him. Edwards on the coverage, but he had Palmer out there, and yeah, Guarantano's hurting.
Man.
You know, he's got a big arm. He didn't have enough on that ball, and then you come back to the end of this play, he's limping off. He takes another hit. Now that should have been flagged.
That should be penalty
flagged
against the defense there.
You cannot hit a quarterback low after he releases the ball. That was low, and that was very late.
Good cut by Madre London. Finally chased down by Donovan Steiner. 43-yard run for London.
They got a great block on the left side by Trey Smith, number 73. Cuts in behind that, and that is the longest run of the night for Tennessee.
Outside to Jennings. Pushed out of bounds. Just to clarify, if you're curious about that play on Guarantano, if a passer is in a passing posture, you cannot forcibly hit him in the knee or below. I would imagine they didn't feel it was forcible contact.
No, you know what? They missed it.
But do you feel they missed it?
They just missed it. I mean, no one needs more protection out there than the quarterback. And usually you're protecting him. He didn't get protected on that play. That was an obvious, hit below.
And it was definitely late contact.
Yep.
Chandler picks up the first down.
I mean, this is forcible contact. You hurt the guy. Look at this.
Oh, that's so dangerous.
And it doesn't matter if it's intentional or unintentional. It's the hit that causes the damage.
And the other parts are rough in the passer. No defensive player can make contact with the passer or throw him to the ground when it's obvious the ball has been delivered already, which that was the case. There's a couple of things you could look at on that play. There's Chandler, wrapped up from behind by Jabari Zuniga. If you're watching Stanford, Oregon, you flipped over and you're wondering how it got to 33-6 in favor of Florida. This was the brutal first half for Tennessee.
Just the first half. That is the worst drive chart ever. I've not seen one worse than that. Fumble, pick, loss on downs, field goal, safety.
Couple more fumbles after that.
More fumbles.
London.
Oh, what a play.
Nothing there. Rayshad Jackson.
Oh, what a play by Jackson. Sniffing this out, feeling the movement his way, and stepping in and making a big tackle. 236 pounds. Watch him sift through this. He feels the pressure coming and steps right into the hole and makes a big stop. That's a great tackle.
Jackson, a redshirt junior out of Miami. Guy who's seen a lot of time. 24th career game tonight. London in for the first SEC touchdown of the Jeremy Pruitt era. Madre London, third touchdown of the year.
Low man wins. Tennessee's offensive lineman got a little bit lower than Florida's and created a little bit of room for London, and the Michigan State transfer was able to squeeze it in there.
It's a 3-score game, still late third quarter. But Samaglia makes it a 20-point game as the Little Rock, Arkansas native puts it home. Alabama dominated Texas A&M. Georgia kept Missouri at arm's length for most of the day. Fair catch. That will go out to the 25-yard line. There's Jordan Scarlett for Florida.
Scarlett's carrying a bigger load for Florida with Malik Davis, the sophomore running back who would normally be getting some carries, is out with a broken foot. So more carries for Scarlett tonight.
Damian Pierce was in the rotation a little bit tonight as well with Davis out. Here is Scarlett, wrapped up by Alante Taylor. Flung down near the sticks.
Scarlett has really good balance, good speed, not great speed, but really good speed, good power, and he can catch the ball out of the backfield. And they haven't had to use him in that role tonight because they jumped out so early with all the turnovers by Tennessee.
Scarlett, their leading rusher a couple of years ago, missed all of last season. He was part of that credit card fraud issue as well. He's back. Said he was humbled by that time away. Understandably so. Gave him enough for the first down. And he's right back to it to close out this third quarter.
Jordan Scarlett carry. Tackle by Daniel Batuli.
Been a rocky night on Rocky Top. Meanwhile, Dan Mullen's first trip to Neyland in a decade, pretty good through 45 minutes of play. A 20 points Florida lead as we get set for the start of the fourth quarter. College football primetime presented by Hampton by Hilton. Adam Amin, Rod Gilmore, Quinn Kesnick, all with you from Knoxville tonight. This was not the debut Jeremy Pruitt was hoping for. Still a quarter to go, but we have seen some really tough moments tonight for Tennessee.
Yeah, they just couldn't take care of the football, and right now you have to think about, forget about the score. What's the style of play and how are you signing this game? I mean, your reputation as an individual player is at stake. How do you play your fourth quarter?
Kadarius Toney on the edge.
Do you play with energy? Do you play hard? Or do you go through the motions? And if you're trying to create a culture here, and you're Jeremy Pruitt, that's what you're asking for. That's what you're demanding. You want your guys to finish and play hard, not worry about the scoreboard. And if you make some plays and you get back in it, so much the better. But when you put on the tape and you ask guys, are they playing hard? You look at the fourth quarter.
Third down and 1 for Florida here. Franks runs it for the first down. Hit hard and driven back by Nigel Warrior, but that was past the sticks.
Big hit by Nigel Warrior, who is the son of Dale Carter. Remember what a
Tennessee greats.
Great career he had here at Tennessee.
Franks fires and connects. He's got Morrill Stevens, the tight end, 16 yards before Theo Jackson stopped him. Franks changing at the line. Looking deep. Throwing up top for Tyree Cleveland. What a catch for a touchdown.
And what a throw. Franks decided to give Cleveland a chance to put it up, to let him try and make a play. And that's the man that he threw the ball to last year on his Hail Mary. He put it up and just give him a chance to make a play, a 50-50 ball. And he makes the play for him.
Beat Theo Jackson in coverage. How tired of our Tennessee fans of Mr. Cleveland right now. A 38-yard strike. Felipe Franks only has completed 9 passes tonight, but they've gone for 172 yards.
Well, when you get 6 turnovers, you don't have to worry about that. For Florida, it's all good right now.
Brutal night if you're a Tennessee fan.
Or a Tennessee player.
Or a player right now. SEC debut for Jeremy Pruitt's bunch. 27-point Florida lead. The last 4 meetings had been decided by a combined 18 points. Not the case tonight. Bryce Thompson on the return. Keller Christ in the game at quarterback, going to Jeremy Banks, one of those freshmen trying to make something happen. You know, we got a Kentucky update with Adnan Vert back in the studio. What you got? Wow, over 300 yards combined in games against Florida and Mississippi State. Benny Snell is going to get on a lot of people's radars very, very quickly, and rightfully so. And I bet you when we look at the new poll that comes out tomorrow, Kentucky's going to have a big number next to them because they've had 2 wins over ranked teams, potentially if they close it out against State.
Yep, they deserve it. And Snell, what a name, little legacy there from, I believe it's his uncle, Matt Snell, who played with the New York Jets way back in the day.
Man.
Super Bowl.
Benny Snell's got personality.
Oh yeah.
Like he can be a face of a program type of player. Christ looking for Callaway. And that's a catch.
That's a really good throw on the move and a really good catch by Callaway coming back to the ball. And Keller Christ is not known for his mobility, but he's much more athletic than people realize. And see the way that Callaway came back for this? Nicely done.
In a place where only Callaway could get it. Jeremy Banks upended by Brad Stewart. Good gain of 9. Jeremy Banks, to Q's point about recruiting, Jeremy Banks might be that one guy that Jeremy Pruitt looks at on his roster and says, that's the type of violence we need. That's how we describe Jeremy Banks. Somebody who's got an edge to him. True freshman who will turn 19 years old tomorrow out of Cordova, Tennessee.
Yeah, it's a delicate balance, Q, when you try to push freshmen and have them become your leaders when you have older players around. You know what I mean?
I was shocked that he'd point to a first-year player as a guy who brings the fire and brings the passion in practice. You know, usually it's going to be an upperclassman, so that was a big surprise. But you can see just in his brief time here in the fourth quarter how hard 33 runs.
Nothing there for London, too.
And if you're Coach Pruitt and your staff, I mean, you're looking at every play on this tape, and you're looking for loafs. Because if guys are loafing right now, they will not be in uniform next week. I can guarantee it. So if you want playing time, just continue to play at a super hard level, and you're going to draw the attention of your position coach and your head coach, because that's what they're focused on right now.
Well, they didn't get that out of the offensive line on that last play, Q. Not at all.
Christ, shot, looking for Callaway, and this time, when Henderson tackles him, the flags will come out.
Did you think that was a tackle?
I would love to know in your head how you're going to justify this one.
No. This, look, come on, that is a tackle. Clearly a tackle.
Defense, number 5, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
He said, Coach, I wasn't going to give him a touchdown. I figured I'd take 15 yards.
They've been engaged on every play tonight, and they've gone at it hard. A lot of times you can't see it at home on TV from the couch, but they are to the echoes of the whistle on every single play. Both guys, as Callaway walks off with cramps, they've really gone at it.
Yeah, that was the matchup that was pointed out by the coaching staffs. Big play receiver against a very good cover guy in Henderson. Well, these are two teams that are both looking for leadership. Henderson's a guy that's a little bit more quiet and reserved, but just a sophomore, and he's a guy who's become more vocal. I would say Callaway is probably in that mold a little bit at Tennessee as well. Guys who are stepping into leadership roles.
I think you have to say that Florida is a little bit further ahead in terms of the rebuild than Tennessee is from what we've seen in the talent on the roster.
Complete from Christ.
You know, we talked to Dan Mullen about where the program is and number of wins that are out there, and he said, you know, I don't know. He's not worrying about the number of wins. He's worrying about, much like Pruitt, the process, you know, how you compete, how hard you work in practice, the good habits that you make. And he says, you know, won't worry about the wins. We got to practice and play like a championship team before worrying about the number of wins.
Back to Brandon Johnson. And he's got the first down.
That's all fine and dandy for the coaching staff, but all the fans want to know, how many are you going to win this year?
How many are you going to win this year?
We get into a bowl game? How am I going to judge the progress? You can judge it by how hard guys practice and work, but your fans, they want to know, did we win more than we won last year?
These are 4-win teams that each had their head coaches fired during the regular season. Butch Jones at Tennessee and Jim McElwain at Florida. I want to see a team that doesn't beat itself, that's physical, and that knows how to overcome some adversity. I think those are a couple of things that need a little bit of work just based on this SEC game.
They beat themselves in the first quarter tonight with all the turnovers. They dug a hole so deep they had no way to get out of it. And then there was a little bit of panic in the second quarter because they were so far behind.
Jeremy Banks has the end zone. Third career touchdown for the true freshman.
He is a bigger back than some of the other guys that they use in the backfield. He has a bright future. Runs hard, goes at about 212, 215 pounds. Runs behind his pads. Look at the hit and spin. Hold up that effort as a guy who's fighting in the fourth quarter to try to get there. So they're going for 2 here, huh?
Go for 2. Chris. And it's complete. Jawan Jennings gets Tennessee up to 21. 5 minutes to play here in Knoxville. Yeah, just the sights. Just enjoying it. Trying to find some positives for Tennessee tonight. On the other side, Florida has been impressive. Here is the aforementioned onside kick. Callaway could not hold on to it. It's Florida. Pierce on the carry. His first career touchdown a week ago on a big run. He has his second on a 47-yard sprint. Florida coaching staff thinks Dameon Pierce is going to be a really good one.
Well, you'll see everybody up here get involved, and there's no one off the line of scrimmage. There's no safety, no one around, and so there is nothing after Pierce breaks through that line.
Dan Mullen said that Pierce earned some carries this week with Malik Davis out. He had a good special teams game last week. He deserves to get some shots. Made the most of that one. The 47 points that the Florida Gators have scored tonight is the most points the Florida Gators have ever scored at Neyland Stadium. The prior mark was 43 back in 1984. A lot of help from some Tennessee mistakes. Gators have outgained Tennessee tonight by just 2 yards. Bryce Thompson will bring it out. Got a hole, and a flag is thrown.
Now that's the Adnan.
That's
That's the man.
Adnan's in late season form already. We're not even into October yet. Jeremy Banks stepped out.
I thought he was going to ask me to stipulate that the game was over. We can stipulate that this game was over first quarter.
Yeah, it felt that way.
Early second after all the turnovers by Tennessee. Man.
That's the story of this game tonight. Florida with 24 points officially off turnovers. You can add in maybe a safety in that mix. I would. The giveaways as well. Ooh. Big hit on Christ. Jeremy Banks getting after Rayshad Jackson for that hit. Approaching 4 to play. It's difficult for Tennessee, I feel like, right now, because their schedule doesn't get any easier. It's going to be a murderer's row coming up. Obviously, any game in the SEC is difficult just about. Florida's going to have some tough ones too, but I feel like Tennessee's got a really rough stretch coming. Tonight began a stretch of 7 straight SEC games. They go to Mississippi State. Next week, SEC Nation will be there, and you can see that game next week at 6 o'clock Eastern time on ESPN. When Dan Mullen revisits his old stomping grounds. Kerry Clark on the tackle for loss.
Kerry Clark will stop.
They'll have Mississippi State on the road. They'll have LSU in Gainesville. They'll go to Vanderbilt. We'll have a bye in mid-October. You have the classic Florida-Georgia game in Jacksonville.
I think it's fair to say Georgia's going to win the East. No one's going to catch Georgia. The question is where everybody else fits in.
That second best team in the East moniker has been pretty open.
Well, and based on what we've seen tonight and this weekend around college football, you know, you start talking about Kentucky. You talk about South Carolina possibly. I don't know that there's enough for Florida to get into that discussion right now, given that Kentucky manhandled them.
The last 2 games, Colorado State and Tennessee. Florida's looked very sharp with the chances that they've had. Number 10 Washington coming up. You're going to see them at home. Bob Wischusen, Brock Heward, Seattle's finest, and Allison Williams will be on the call. Herm Edwards got the big win against Michigan State at home. Played a really good San Diego State team. Rocky Long's team came away with a win last week, but I'm really interested to see one of the best receivers in college football, N'Keal Harry, go up against that Washington secondary. That's going to be a great matchup
He is
tonight.
a big-time player, and he is a treat to watch if you haven't seen him.
The Florida Gators and Tennessee Volunteers really began to ramp up this rivalry in the 90s when these 2 teams became SEC East foes. This has become the tight rivalry for Tennessee, but the Gators have dominated it as of late. And with 2 new head coaches as part of this rivalry, Jeremy Pruitt and Dan Mullen, just the second time in the series' long-standing history, there are 2 new head coaches taking over tonight. This era begins with a resounding Florida win. Impressive stuff for the Gators. For Rod Gilmore, Quentin Kesnick, Adam Amin saying so long from Knoxville. Let's get you to Seattle with Bob, Brock, and Alice.